Welcome
Sorry.
everybody to the 2021 DGS virtual gathering. A great shame that we're having to do it virtually and not do it in person, because that's the thing that makes the DGS what it is. However, this is the world we live in, so this is where we are at this moment in time. We have almost 40 people who may well be joining us tonight, besides the people that you can see on the screen at the moment. So let's hope they all manage to connect in without any problems. I must say at the very start here that John and I have to give a huge vote of thanks to Karen and David for their efforts in getting this webinar off the ground. Without them, to put it bluntly, it wouldn't happen because John and I aren't that technical and we rely on Karen and David. So we're here tonight because of the efforts of those two. You will see that we have Michael Ware on your screen. Michael is our new Australasian secretary, and she has hit the ground running, which is excellent because we were blessed with having Maureen for so many years, but Michael has stepped ably into her shoes with Maureen's assistance, and it does take the pressure off, particularly off me with membership matters. We're going to split this webinar into two halves, really. One is the sort of formal DGS gathering business, and then there'll be something else that is of interest to family historians, really. But we'll come to that when we get to it. But we should start with the formal bit, and this is where I need to move into technical mode here and share the screen, as the first report will be my membership and financial one. So wish me luck while I press the button. Here we are. So, as I've said, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Howard Dalton. I'm the co-chairman, along with John, the editor. And the first thing, I'll just run through the agenda, but I shall do my financial and membership report, and then we have a recording of Dalton's report about the journal, and then we hand over to Karen, who will talk about North America and her report, and then Michael and her Australasian report. And then you will have to endure me again, because I'm going to talk a little bit about my family ancestry before I pass the baton on to Michael again with a fascinating tale of emigration, but I won't steal her thunder. And then Mark will talk about where the DNA project is up to. And then the highlight, for me, the highlight of the evening will be Kieran and Colette, who will sing us out. And you're very free to dance if you would like to do that. But we will have traditional Irish music at the end of the evening. So into my reports, first of all, and my treasurer's report. Here are the Society's accounts for 2020 up to the 31st of December. If anybody has any questions about these, they're probably better to email me and I can explain in detail. But we show that this year we had a deficit, an excess of expenditure over income of just over £1,000, which is down a third from 2019, which is an improvement, some improvement. There's a bit more detailed information about sources of income and where our expenditure has gone. There is our capital account, and at the end of the year, we have a capital balance of about £4,700. The points that I would like to make is, as I've already mentioned, we exceeded our income by £1,000 in 2020. Since the 1st of January this year, we've received the refund back from the Clumber Park, which was where we had intended to have our gathering in 2020. That'll be included in the 2021 accounts. The amount had been charged against our income in 2019. The cost of postage for the journals is now really quite high. The UK postage charges seem to increase on a regular basis, and as it does for international delivery as well. And so we encourage members to accept electronic delivery of the journal. We currently have 54, and I think that that number has probably risen by 2 or 3 in the last week or so, which is excellent because they get delivery of the journal on the day that it's issued. Some people can't take electronic delivery. That's perfectly acceptable, but we would encourage members to take it if they could. Our membership subscriptions continue to fall as we lose members. I encourage members to spread the word about the DGS. We do lose members due to natural causes, but we also are picking members up, and part of it is through the work of Mark and the work of Karen and the effect of the websites, the website and the Facebook pages, which spread the word. I've said that I expect in 2021 we'll be able to further reduce the deficit and we seek to keep our costs as low as we possibly can. An example of that is David has taken out a subscription to Zoom. For those of you familiar with Zoom, and I use Zoom from time to time, you get 40 minutes free and then you have to have another meeting and it does get a bit of a mess, but the subscription makes life so much easier and is so much cheaper than if we had to buy a block of time. And then I finish up by saying, if anybody has any questions, my email address is on the top. Please contact me and I will answer just as soon as I can. That's the end of my financial report.
Everyone, and I hope that you're enjoying the meeting so far, and it's a wonderful opportunity for our membership around the world to be here without having to leave their own living rooms, which I think is amazing. Now, for those of you who have not met me before, I am the editor of the magazine. I'm also temporarily the joint honorary chairman of the society with Howard Dalton. But my main task tonight is to introduce myself as the editor of the magazine. Now, this is our principal conduit of information between the members, and it's something which I always push quite hard. And I know we've got the website, which is excellent and helps people put up a lot more stuff than we can possibly put in a magazine. But I think there's something about a printed booklet which is, to my mind, perpetual. What I'm always looking for, of course, is more articles, and particularly a variety of articles and pictures for the next issue. And of course, the next one I shall have to start assembling in a few weeks' time. Now, notice I said it's our journal, not my journal. This is a journal for all the society members. We are the ones who contribute to it. I happen to assemble what it is you send me. So without your contributions, I have nothing to put together. There's something I particularly like to see more of, and it should be fairly easy to do. And a good example of it was Karen Preston's piece in the last issue, where she got a handful of family photographs, so we're not talking about a large collection, and had written short descriptions which connected the photographs together. And on the space of 2 pages, she got a mini family history published for members to see. Will be kept for perpetuity in the research in the libraries around the world that keep copies for copyright reasons, or in the case of the Allen Public Library in Indiana and the LDS Library in Utah. Now, you don't have to restrict yourself to 2 pages. You could go deeper, which is something I did many years ago. After my father died, I wrote a short biography of him, and that was published back in volume 21 and 22. So you've got a choice. Or you can have a deeper research piece, maybe a piece that's been published by another magazine elsewhere, because we can usually get permission to publish these again in our magazine. We did that last time with James Clump's article, which I thought was a superbly researched piece of work. I was very pleased to be able to print it. Now, what I might also mention is how things have moved on since the very early days when Michael Neil Dalton, first of all, started a family history circular for his own family. And this was half a century ago, believe it or not. And he put together a little handbook, which he circulated just to the members of his own family. And he did this all by hand. First of all, he had to type up all the pieces. And this is an example of one of his pages, which involved quite a lot of work. And then we've got an example of a family tree, which he again hand drew very neatly, I might add. And of course, he had the good fortune to be able to be working computing at the time. And whilst in those days we didn't have desktop computers, they hadn't even been thought of. They were still the size of a room. So you had a card index, and this is an example of one of his card index pages. And from that he produced, because he had the connection to do so, a punched card. Now you only see these in museums, as David Preston pointed out to me these days. But he ended up with these, and that produced this family tree list. Not a family tree as laid out as we understand it these days, but just a list of names and essential dates. And that involved what was in those days a large amount of computing power. And now we can do 1,000 times more than this on a little desktop that you can drop in a briefcase. But it comes back to the same thing. The research still has to be done by the people on the ground, in the libraries, on things like Find My Past and Ancestry. It still depends on you, the members, doing your bit and sending your bits to me for the magazine. Thank you for listening.
Okay. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us for the webinar today. This is going to be a brief overview for the membership in North America. And there is my email address. If anyone has questions or would like to contact me, please that's the email address to use. Quickly, we have 85 members in the US and Canada, 82 in the US and 3 Canadian members. We've had an increase of 14 members over the same period last year. And all but 4 of the members joined or renewed electronically. There's a brief look at the financials. Despite the fact that the membership is growing, we're still not showing as much cash as we would like to. And the more members we have, the more things we can do for you. Later on in the presentation, Mark is going to be talking to us about the status of the Y-DNA project. In the last year, we have added an autosomal project. Mark continues to monitor the DNA Facebook page along with me. And if you have been tested and are on Facebook, please join. Unfortunately, the reason that we're virtual today is because we had to cancel the face-to-face gathering in Colonial Williamsburg that was planned for this time. Now we've rebooked it for next year. It will be the 12th of October, and I believe it's the 12th through the 10th through the 12th of October. And we look forward to seeing you face to face instead of virtually. And then finally, the plans for 2022 to retain and expand the membership. I'd like to thank everyone who has renewed and thank all the members who have joined us for the first time. The 2022 gathering will be the 10th through the 12th of 2022 October. We have confirmed a rate of $139 US per night at the hotel, including a buffet breakfast. And there will be more information on this as we get closer to the event. We'll be updating you on the members only website, and we'll be putting snippets of information on Facebook. We're also going to be looking at the viability of doing some advertising. And that does it for me. And there again is my email and contact information. If you have any questions, please do get in touch. Thank you all.
It's great to be with you, and it's a beautiful spring day here. Just to make you feel a little envious of us. The rest of you are probably going into your winter season. Now, I'm a very new member of the driving committee. I don't know whether you'd call us that, but I've enjoyed the time that I've had so far. Now, oh, right. At the moment, we have 21 members, 19 or 20 in Australia and 2 in New Zealand. We've had 3 new members join this year, which is really great to see. Margaret has come on board from Western Australia, Simon for Victoria, and Elizabeth just this last week from ACT. Now we have 2 members in Western Australia, 1 in Victoria, 1 in South Australia, 7 in New South Wales, 2 in ACT, 6 in Victoria, and 2 of us in the North Island of New Zealand. Given that Australia's continent is larger than the landmass of the United States, there is a considerable spread between our members. Our membership ranges from someone who's got a number 32, and he has said he has been a member for at least 20 years, to our new members who've joined this year. I'd like to thank Maureen Collins in particular, who I've been following on as Australasian Secretary for giving me a bit of background to the Dalton Genealogical Society in our area, and who has assisted me in when I've had any specific queries relating to our group. Now, COVID has, as elsewhere in the world, is restricting us, meaning those of us who've intended travelling to the Northern Hemisphere haven't been able to. However, it's meant that we've used digital links to communicate, which is proving very useful. And I trust our members will be able to at least see a recording of a meeting, if not joined in, and welcome to those of us down under who are in person. Now, I've tried to send an email message newsletter to keep Down Under members up to speed with what's happening within DSG. And also we've experimented with setting up our own Facebook page. This hasn't proved particularly successful to date, but like a lot of things that slow start, hopefully people will start to use it, and the messaging facilities that can be used in conjunction with it. Over the year, I've assisted one person to find a cousin whom he'd lost contact with in New Zealand. So if anyone out there is looking for someone, I'm pretty good at finding stuff or finding people. I've also passed on a query regarding a particular Dalton tree to others who will be able to assist. So thanks to Michael and Howard for helping me with that one. PayPal in Australia had been an issue for some, and like lots of digital stuff, but we managed to get that through okay. And Howard, our treasurer, has kept me in the communication loop, so I've been able to help if needed. Going forward, I intend to continue emailing our members, and I hope you don't mind me doing that, everybody, and trust that they'll contact me if they need assistance, and hopefully I can point you in the right direction. It'll be wonderful when we can all travel with less restrictions and more certainty. And it would be just great to go to the Northern Hemisphere to attend that Williamsburg gathering next year. Thanks to Howard, John, Karen, David, and Michael for their help in my role. And I really enjoyed our Zoom meetings, especially that last time we had Karen with us, entertaining us, showing us his banjo. It's been great to meet other Daltons from around the world, and I'm sure by belonging to DGS, you can all do that. Thanks, everybody.